Well, hello and welcome back to another video. I thought it's an awful long time since I've done anything really the e-bikes that I own, basically because there's been really nothing to report. I was going to try and do the project e-bike. I'd got the old power bike frame and motor and controller, but realistically, you know, I'm still looking into that and hope to try and do something on that lines, just as a little runabout bike that you can really not worry about leaving anywhere and don't, you know, but the price of, you know, I've looked at making my own battery, buying a ready-made battery, even looked at buying one of these Chinese batteries from China, but the price is really, it doesn't dictate what the bike is worth, which is sad really, isn't it? So that's still a work in progress and something I'd not forgotten about. My Volts, they are still both going really well. This is the oldest Volt Pulse, which is now over 7 years old. It was 7 years old in October. Here we are in November. You know, has done many thousand miles service in its time. Did have the new battery last Christmas, and that has held up really well. Really pleased with that. Can't fault it. You know, and all credit to Volt. They did give me I think it was something like a 22 or 25% discount off a new battery in the end. I've still been campaigning these e-bikes, particularly to our local MP and various other people and organisations. I did approach the Department of Transport again this summer, because in May 2000 they came out with this grandiose statement, the government, that they hoped to cut a third off the price of new e-bikes after we came out of the first round of the pandemic, that was, and they were encouraging people to get on their bikes or walk as safer means of transport. Sadly, they still haven't, you know, made any further decisions on that, and I think it's like a lot of, not just this government but previous governments, we are not going to see that happen, sadly, not in the, you know, short-term future anyway, which is a shame, because that would have opened e-bikes up for many more people. You know, say if your e-bike was £1,600, you might have been able to, you know, purchase that for £1,000, which could be the means of difference between somebody buying one and somebody not buying one. I'm still looking around at newer e-bikes, and that's really what made me do this little video update today, because I had contacted a local cycling shop out in a rural location, because they do a lot of cycle hire, and they sell a range of e-bikes, and they had some models, or one model that I would like to try and that I've been recommended to try. And you know, I appreciate people's, you know, guidance in the comments of what you've got, what they like, and so William, if you're out there, I'm still going to have a look at this bike in time. And I emailed them, oh yes, we have that one in stock. No, we don't mind you doing a little video on it, you know, we're prepared if you know, want to come over here and have a look at it. Now this is some way to go, and this is, as I said, this is my main, you know, means of transport, this bike still. And so I did, this morning, just phone them. I thought it's a nice morning, you know, let's go over, let's go out and have a look at this. And I did phone them and say, you know, who I was, and I'd emailed them a couple of weeks ago. And there had been some great communication error, because apparently they haven't got this bike in stock. It is there is some new models due in within the next 2 to 3 weeks, at best, they think. They're not 100% sure about that, because supply with everything at the moment is very much, you know, up in the air. So obviously that put that on hold again. So when they are in, I will certainly go and do a review of this bike. As to whether I buy one, Well, by all accounts, you know, that's not, that's, you know, round about, it's pushing up towards £3,000, that particular bike, I believe. I hadn't got their price and what the best deal they would do, and we hadn't gone into that. I was just purely going to have a look at one and have a ride on one. So, you know, while this bike serves me well and is still going well and serves my needs, you know, I shall stick with this a bit. You know, I have been, you know, this bike has had its criticism by various people, and I don't mind that. You know, they've had bad experiences with theirs, but I've only had a good experience with this bike, and I can only speak as I find. That's why I would never recommend e-bikes. It's very much for you to go and have a look at them and see what suits you and your needs. I think that's very important with everything in life, isn't it? You can only tell people your experience, be it good or bad, and with me this has been very good. I have since it had a new chain, a new freewheel, it's had replacement brake pads again on it this year, but that is all I've spent on it. So basically this, within the last 18 months, all I've spent on it is new brake pads, because the new chain and freewheel was a couple of years ago now. The tires, these tires, I don't buy the cheapest tires. I've kept buying the tires that it came with, which are these Kevlar, you know, high puncture resistant tires. And sorry about the bird noise, that's a woodpecker that is screeching away, you can probably hear. And there again, these seem to last, you know, many miles, and touching wood, there isn't any around, but you know, I haven't had a puncture. I've only had one puncture on this bike in its entire life, in 7 years, so I think that, you know, speaks volumes for the many thousand miles this bike has done. As I say, for the first 3-4 years I commuted every day on this, clocking up some really serious mileage on it. So there we go. I'll just give you a quick look at the, you know, a bit of a closer look at the bike, because, you know, it's amazing how it's this has been stored in a garage. It's been well looked after. I clean it regularly, I maintain it every month. That's another thing. I got it out this morning when I realised I couldn't go and have a look at this bike. I thought, well, I'll at least do the monthly maintenance on it. I check the tyres, I lubricate it, just go over it and have a look all around it, particularly as the winter is fastly approaching. But you know, I'm delighted. You know, no matter, you know, this bike might be a little bit dated now, as e-bikes are. I appreciate that. But the build quality, there again, I can't fault it. You know, I think I've said before, I've had e-bikes that, there again, I was using them to commute on, and so they were getting a lot of use, but they were well looked after, well maintained, and dry stored in a garage, and always charged up. And within 18 months, you know, bits had falling off. I had one frame break, that the actual brazing, or it is not welding, it's brazing on the frame, actually broke, and that was the write-off, that bike. And so, you know, everything still functions on it. It all works a treat. It still, you know, gets me where I want to get to, and it's still a joy to ride. And I think that's what e-bikes are to me. You know, it brings a smile to my face when I get on this bike, and that might sound silly saying that, but you know, and I never thought I would be the sort of person that would go and buy an e-bike, because I was very much into ordinary cycling and loved that. But once I've had one, you know, I could really see the potential, and they've sort of got so much better. And I think now, you know, the current crop out there are even better and getting better and better. So without further ado, I'm not going to ramble on too long in this video. It is purely a little update on the Volts and what's been happening. And as I say, there's not been much to report, because I've still been using them quite regularly, and still going ever so well. And as I say, I do still hope to have a look at some more modern e-bikes. I'm not having a lot of joy on that at the moment, because what with I was kind of stuffed because, you know, the pandemic came, and then that was a no-no, and I couldn't really go off there, and then I thought, right, this autumn I really will go and start having a look. And as I found out this morning that the stock is very limited of the bike I wanted, and that there is I think it's another generation model coming on. They've sold all the older the stock, and there is a new better model coming out again, so we'll wait and see on that anyway. Yes, so the panniers are beginning to look a bit tatty on it now, and I've never been in that position before where the bike is outlasting the panniers, but it's been a terrific bike, and as I say, it's done many thousand miles, and it doesn't owe me anything at all now, and I don't honestly think I would go to the, you know, extremes of putting another new battery on it. You know, I mean, hopefully this battery is coming up for a year old now. You know, they do say the battery should last you 4 years, and my original battery on this lasted, you know, 6 years. So like I say, I've been delighted with it, and only have praise for it. Whether I would buy another Volt, I don't know. I would like to look at their current models and see what their, you know, the availability is and the price. Obviously it basically, you know, comes down to price, and my circumstances have changed a little bit, and I'm beginning to now sway on the idea of maybe having a look at some of these relatively cheaper folding e-bikes. You know, is it the Ado 20, I think, is around about 750 pounds. You can buy that, and that looks a super little bike. There's a guy whose channel, he's mainly into sort of wind generation and batteries and more scientific things, but he has just bought one of these and has sort of done some reviews of it. He took his on the train to London, and I thought, what a great idea, you know, that you can fold it up. You can. He took it with him in a restaurant. He put it on the luggage rack in the train, and the sort of way, you know, things are going for me, that might be something that I look at in the future. But for the present time, I'm quite happy with the Volt, and as I say, it just shows you, like a lot of things in life, if you look after it and give it the basic maintenance, you know, these bikes will last, as other makes will, I have to say. I'm not just talking about Volt there for any. I did a video on e-bikes called Busting Myths on e-bikes, which, you know, went into detail a little bit more about the regulations, and a lot of people thought, when I said, you know, the bike can only go to 15.5 miles an hour, they thought that was the, you know, total speed that you could go pedalling. Well, it isn't. You can pedal as fast as you like. It just means the motor will cut out when you reach 15.5. I think on this one, on the, it's about 16 miles an hour, the motor will cut out, but you can still pedal on. And, you know, I've had this up to very nearly 30 miles an hour going down a hill with the wind behind me, you know, pedaling away furiously. So there's nothing, you know, there's no law that says you can't do that. It's just the pedal assist mode will cut out at 15.5 miles an hour. But this is a very grey area, all these e-bike and e-scooter rules, and I think it needs a total overhaul. So there we go. That's a little quick update. As I hope you can see, it's looking very good. I'm delighted with it. It certainly doesn't look like a 7-year-old bike, and as I say, when you think how many miles this has done, and where it's been to, you know, I'm over the moon. I still have my Volt Pulse X, which is going really well. That has still got its original battery, and that really should be replaced now, but I don't think, you know, I mean, if I desperately wanted to go out on that, I could always interchange it with this new battery off this one, if the battery breaks down entirely, but it hasn't at this moment in time. So yes, if you're riding any e-bike and you're really liking what you're riding and it's relatively new, please drop it in the comments, and you know, I'd love to know what people are riding and what they're liking and enjoying, and what they think are good current e-bikes, be that have you had one of these? I'm sure it's a ADO 8 or 8, I can't think of one of these folding bikes, and I'll put that in the description box. I'm sure it's an ADO 20 or something like that. If you have one of them and have been enjoying it or finding it good or bad or indifferent, you know, I'd love to hear any of your comments on newer e-bikes and what you're, you know, currently riding or even thinking of buying yourself. So there we go. As always, thanks for watching. If you fancy it, please do subscribe. It really does help us smaller channels, but that's your decision as always. Please do like, please do comment. As I say, I love getting your comments, and I will try and answer everybody who does comment. So thank you again, and I'll see you in a future video very shortly, hopefully. Until then, all the best for now, and bye.